If
Thank
you're
you.
an AGP dude with a beard saying I'm a woman, I go in there and I want to fight it. And then if someone knows I'm a trans woman and I get in the female's bedroom, it's like you're like that dude, you know? Because
No, no,
we're humans, we tend to generalize and just saying, well,
that's
that
right.
bearded dude told me he was trans.
That's
So and
right.
now you're trans, so you're with that guy. Guilty by association.
Hey everybody, I caught myself a good one today. So before we move forward again, I want to thank everybody for helping this channel grow. I want to thank everybody for watching, subscribing, liking, getting these videos out to everybody. It does, I will tell you, every single time I do these interviews, it means a lot to me because I see stuff happening, not only from my channel, but from all of us starting to really push back against the insanity that's called trans, whatever that means now. But so
Yeah.
I'm going to move forward with my interview today, and her name is Anne. And I don't know much about Anne other than we had some dialogue between each other on email, and she reached out to me, and I'm super excited to have this conversation. So, with that, hi Anne, and I would love for you to introduce yourself to the people, and then we can move forward.
Hi, absolutely. I'm Anne. I'm 37. I've been working in the music and events industry for a few times now. I only came out as trans at 34, so about 3 years ago,
Okay.
socially, and I've been on HRT for about 2.5 years now. So a
Wow.
bit of a late comer to the trans game, but I think it's a good idea because yes, I was, gender questioning in my teens, especially when puberty started in my
Mhm.
20s. But I wanted
Sure.
to make sure before moving on with like hormones and everything. I mean,
Excellent.
I really see it as a last resort.
Oh, thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
That's totally my belief. As you know, I transitioned, or maybe don't, 30 years old. So I'm 61
Mhm.
now. And I think that's the reason why I've been so solid in my transition of 30. Well, this month is 32 years, and it's been very good to me. That's why I sit
Mhm.
in this middle space because we can't not let people think you and I don't exist because we do. And
Yeah.
it's very important that people understand that. But I think what we're seeing, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be part of our conversation, is we're seeing stuff that's misrepresenting what this actually is. And that's very dangerous, as you can see what's happening
Mhm.
with our space. And again, living this at 32 years, it's been nothing but amazing for me. So
Mhm.
with that, it's why guests like you are so important to me, even though you only transitioned 3 years ago. First off, you look amazing. I have to say that to you. You
Thanks.
look incredible. You're very beautiful.
Yeah.
I hope you're achieving what you want to achieve, which I think is
More than
similar
I
to
would have
me.
expected. Yeah, a lot
Um,
more. I mean, no surgery, no nothing. And I was like,
wow,
yeah, in my
wow,
30s, and I have broad shoulders and everything. But
sure.
but then like I say about 18 months to tutor, I
Uh-huh.
started just that I was like, wow, I'm impressed. I'm looking at pic when I was just socially transitioning and just
Yeah,
like being feminine or putting on makeup, but not really on HRT. And then now, wow, wow.
wow. So you started HRT 3 years ago.
It's gonna be 3 years this summer. Yeah.
Congratulations on that. So you started
Thanks.
at the age of 30, right?
Yeah, 34.
At 34. Wait,
Yeah.
how old are you now?
37.
Oh, oh wow. Okay, I thought you were way younger. You
I,
look way younger,
yeah,
right?
there's the HRT magic, but there's also genetics. My
Totally.
mom was, yeah, 35 and she was getting hit on by guys in their 20s.
Wow,
They thought she was 30, early 30s, but she was 45.
wow. Yeah, it's genes. Where are you from?
And Montreal.
Montreal?
Yeah,
I don't know why it's cutting out a little bit. So let's just
it
hold on.
is.
I'm
Right.
gonna pick up from. So you're from Montreal.
Yeah,
Yes, you're Canadian. Are
French
you born
Canadian.
in you're French? My dad's Canadian, so I get
Yeah,
it. You're French Canadian. Right
yeah.
on.
There
So
are differences.
there are
Yeah.
100%. So with that, tell me a little bit about your background, if you would, like growing up and all of that.
I was in a pretty much, I would say, a conservative family.
Okay.
Um, yeah, my parents took me out of religious school maybe at second or third grade, but yeah, I started as I'm from a Catholic family,
Okay.
and yeah, so we stopped that around I was about 8, but still quite conservative family, even though my parents are open-minded. One of my father's younger sister was like a lesbian activist in the 80s and 90s when activism meant something.
When
She
activists
would be, yeah,
go on.
she passed unfortunately, but she would be
Oh,
your age.
wow.
So
Oh,
yeah,
that's sad. That saddens me.
yeah,
We need the elders.
yeah, she lost the fight against cancer
Oh, I'm so
a
sorry.
few years back, but I managed to meet her early in my transition,
Wow.
and we got to talk about like what she went through, what she did. She knew trans people back then, even though
Sure.
you know it was like gays, lesbians, bisexuals. Yes, the T was included because it was not the T trying to take over everyone. It was just like we're just all participating because we all want the same thing. So why not fight together? We all want to be able to have a job, to go to a restaurant, and just live a normal life. That's all people wanted back then.
I think
And
it's
now it's everything.
that's because the new T is TQIA. The old T is transsexual, where most of us came from the gay community, right? And so that's why I think we also felt very solid in that space. And none of us wanted to take each other out. All of us were helping each other move forward in our lives. And it's this newer, whatever it is, I call it an ideology. I don't think
Yeah.
it's anything other than that.
No,
So
and it's social identity for them.
there
For
you
us,
go.
it's just like, it's not even, they say sexual preferences, it's sexual attraction. And
Yes.
it's, like we used to say, being born in the wrong body, which is now they say it as a science, but
Yeah.
it's just a way to make it simple for everyone. It's just like, look, in my mind, I'm a girl, but I have a boy body and I'm going through male puberty.
Right. Right.
But I don't have the wrong body. It's just, it
Well,
happens
they took it
to
out of context now, so they're using all of our
exactly.
old ways of being against us on some level. That's why I can tell you these people are
Yeah.
disingenuous. They're not like us. They have ulterior motives. They're really after the
Mhm.
children. There's
They are.
weirdos and I always say it because I don't care what anybody thinks about me, and it's my opinion. But I believe a lot of these new trans women specifically are not trans. They're cross dressers. They're AGP. They're trans, and not that is not a bad thing. That's what I also want people, but they need to
I know
stay in the.
AGPs. I have
I
friends who
have
do this,
friends.
but they go to specific places in closed doors. Everyone's consenting.
That's right.
I mean,
That's right.
everyone's consenting. It's all
That's right.
adults.
Yep.
It- it- you
Yep.
know,
Yep. But the disingenuous ones have now latched on and are using our space to do crazy stuff. It's why
yeah.
we need to speak out. So with that, did you have a pretty normal, quote unquote, normal childhood on some level?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Great.
So,
Great.
I think yesterday you said you have your GI Joe and stuff. I had Barbies, but I mean, my
Great.
parents were like, "I don't care." I had Barbies, but I had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well. I was playing Nintendo as well.
Great.
I learned
Great.
skateboarding because my parents bought a house when I was 3, and my neighbors were super skater grunge teenage boys, and they took me over. They were like, "Oh, look, we have a Nintendo, we have a drum, a guitar." They
Great.
made me listen to Nirvana, Soundgarden. They taught me how to skateboard, and I still do all those things. I still have a skateboard. I still go to punk rock shows. They're
Brilliant.
queers,
Oh
they're
my
fun
God.
then.
That's
Um,
awesome.
I still play video games. I mean, they got me into all this stuff, which of course
Right.
it was normal,
Totally.
being a little boy. But I mean, at this point, it's like, what is gender? What is sex? That when you're 3, 4,
Oh my God, that's what we're
they,
missing. Let the kids
yeah.
just figure it out because and they have more fun. Kids have more fun when no one's stressing on them about their gender and how they identify. They're putting so much stress on these kids.
Mhm.
It's weird.
I had those times where I was like, I don't know, I feel better with the little girls, maybe I want
There you
to
go.
wear a dress. I remember at some point I asked my friend if I could borrow a swimsuit, and I was wearing a girl swimsuit to go play
Right.
with the hose and everything, or but I was like 4 or 5. It's
That's
like
right.
it
Nobody
doesn't mean
cares.
anything, even though I'm trans now. I mean, it didn't mean anything back then.
But there's probably kids who are doing the same thing who are not trans. I say it all the time. I played with a
Yeah.
bunch of butch little girls back in the day. They all grew up to be women and married and have kids. Some are lesbians, some aren't. You know what I mean? I think of the bunch of butch girls I hung out with back in the day. I'm the only one who transitioned. So
Mhm.
so how is that even a thing? Like it's just So you did have a normal child, which is great. This is what I love to hear because
Yeah.
people always have this assumption about us that we had these horrible childhood and we should have transitioned as kids. And how do you feel about not transitioning until you're this age now?
I mean, I think the bigger part of my distress came at puberty. So this
Sure.
is just one more reason to not put kids on puberty blockers. Like, how can they confirm that there is something on this? They could just be like, I don't know, a girly boy or a, a tomboy, a
Totally.
tomboy or
Yeah.
something. And just like, you don't know, you don't go through puberty. But then I went through puberty and I went to see a therapist and he told me there's no such thing as like, feeling like you're a girl. Maybe you just don't do the right sports or you're not
Right.
with the right friends. And
That's
so I
right.
joined the infantry at 18. I was like, and he told me I need to do more boy stuff. I did the boyest job I could get.
Well, good for him because what does it mean? That's what my therapist said to me back
Mhm.
in the day. What does it mean to feel like a man? And I was like stumped that she stumped me.
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
you're right. What does it feel?" That's
Mhm.
why it took so like this really long period of time to discuss what does that really mean. When they're not discussing that, and you make such a great point there, Annie. How can a child know that they're trans or they're distressed if they haven't even gone through puberty and understand being a boy?
Mhm.
You don't understand being a boy or a girl until after puberty. That's when it all starts to sort of come onto
Exactly.
you.
It
Yeah,
was, it was a growing chest hair, growing facial hair was like, I didn't like that. The kind of emotional reactions that you have with testosterone, I was
yeah.
like not super, I was not coping well with that part either. At some point, I'd say when my voice dropped, because I'm still working on it, but it was very deep. I had a deep radio voice.
Well, it
Um,
sounds great. I know women. I know actual biological women. Oh, deep, deep. I have Mickey Mouse
oh,
voice.
yeah, no, it's same thing. And
So,
like most of my friends are, I'd say, gay and lesbians because I
mhm,
was out as bisexual and I
mhm,
was seeing girls. I would say I can be sexually attracted to girls, but I tried the romantic part. Did not really
okay,
work for me.
sure,
More romantically attracted to men, but being with those in this world, I was going to the gay bars. I was going to the gay
sure.
nightclubs. We have an amazing gay village in Montreal.
I know I've been to
So.
it. Yes, it's
Mhm.
amazing. Beautiful. I love Montreal. It's amazing there. And so, would you say that you identified as a gay man at any time in your life, or were you always bisexual?
I always identified as bisexual.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
interesting.
even so, I didn't like the fact that I felt more like a girl, so I tried to date women more and more, tried to fit in the this kind of heteronormative mold. So I would see guys, and at some point I would be like, "Oh no, I don't know, I don't know," and then I would, I don't know, meet a girl, we hit it off, we become like friends with benefits, but it was always the same pipeline of like after sleeping together a few times, we would just become friends. And
Right.
they're
So,
still my friends. I'm friends with
excellent.
girls I dated for like 2 to maybe 6 months, and then we're just like, you know what? We're just friends.
Great.
Um,
That's
we
excellent.
tried it. We had sex. It's just like it's not it. So,
So,
but I
so
was I
now,
was really fighting this actually.
so now, as a female, as living as a woman, do you find
Hmm.
yourself more attracted to men?
Yeah, yeah,
And
definitely.
definitely. And so
I'm more
now,
in tune with it actually.
okay.
You
And
know,
do you think that's because you're living as a woman now that happened? Or you've
I
always been
wouldn't say
attracted to
so, but
men and
maybe.
mhm,
Yeah, I was attracted to both, but maybe it was my kind of my will to live in a more heteronormative family.
I
So maybe
see.
now I'm
Right.
like it's like I'm at
Right.
peace with it. I can date a guy. I can have like this kind of heteronormative
Sure.
since I'm women presenting. I know
Yeah.
that I have like the energy I give is more female.
Totally.
Um, I
Totally
was
feel it.
yeah, I was acting my male energy actually. So as I
Excellent.
started even socially transitioning, I was just like, I don't have to think, I was sitting and at some point I was in a band and the guy sent me the interview like maybe 2 months ago. It's like, oh, that's for 3, 4 years. And I say, I'm not even focusing on the interview. I'm just like, oh no, I can't sit like this. Don't cross your legs. Just use wider legs. Try to be like a bit more like broad shoulders. And I'm like, I just look at the interview and I'm like, what was I doing?
Well,
You know?
that's us and our dysphoria. I mean,
Yeah, no, exactly.
yeah. we're always like thinking about things. I always think
Hmm.
still 30 something years later, I still think of my little hands. Does someone see me as
Oh,
a woman? I don't have an
yeah.
Adam. I mean, of course that's literally real dysphoria and some,
Hmm.
eventually you'll get so comfortable with yourself, I mean, because people always say, you seem like a gay man because my gestures or the way I talk and I don't really care. You know what I mean? You can think of,
Yeah.
because you start to realize that you're never going to please everyone, including yourself. You just have to get to a point where you're totally okay. But that
Hmm.
being said, you pass as a female as far as I'm concerned, and I want to know. So when if this is too personal a question, you don't have to answer. But I was wondering how you feel about disclosure when you're dating somebody.
I always do it.
I knew that. I could
Because
tell
yeah,
you're that
because it
person.
started last spring. So
Hmm.
less than a year ago, I started talking with people in, in bars and just like getting hit on or something. And then at some point I would make a joke and then they were like, well, wait a minute. And I'm like, oh, wait, okay, people start not noticing, I'm starting
Yeah.
to be stealth. So yeah, at this point, I was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, yeah, we can play around a bit, but if I'm interested, I'm gonna put it out there, you know.
Excellent. Good for you. That I appreciate that a lot. I
Yeah.
have a lot of
And
respect for that.
yeah, and I see some of the, like the Love Don't Judge they have. I think it's a YouTube channel, but I saw some reactions from uh, other people and, people, and they were reacting to it. They're just like, the guy's like, oh, she said, I need to tell you something. It's like, first, okay, no, she looks like a drag queen. And then I need to tell you something. The guy's like, oh, I didn't know, but I'm okay with it. And oh, I'm dating a trans girl, but I'm straight. It's like, that's a red flag for me. It's like, if you're not at peace with it, it might not come now, but it might come in 6 months. In a
There
year,
you
you're
go.
gonna be like, no, this is not me.
That's right. No, thank you. That's why, oh
And
my God, the disclosure thing I've always pushed for.
mhm.
And, I got called so many names in this community because I'm a victim blamer. I'm like, victim, you don't want to be a victim? Be honest about who you are. Because when you go home with
Yeah.
somebody and you're going to have sex
Oh.
and they think you're a woman or they think you're a man, then you are doing it. You're putting yourself
Mhm.
in the situation because that person sees you and I as a man and as a woman. But we're trans, and if my pants come down, I don't have what a man has. And how rude of me to
Yeah.
just assume it's going to be okay. So I got called a victim blamer
Ugh.
from this
No.
ridiculous community.
I saw TikTok videos of a girl doing it. Just like they're super passing, they're pretty, and they're like, oh,
Yeah,
I want to bring a guy home and saying like this straight guy is gonna, suck my part or whatever, and like, and
gross.
I gets home, takes the pants down. It's like, if that guy gets shocked, you might get punched, and
That
you're in your home, and that guy's in your home right now, and he's violent.
duh.
He's getting violent because you just tricked him.
You
But then if
for
you just disclose it and it's like, it's not my thing. It happened to me. It's like, oh, it's not my thing. And then we just, keep
it's
talking. We
that
keep
easy.
having a drink, and it's just like, it won't go that way.
But that's why they called me a victim blamer because I said the same thing you said. I said, and then what happens when you put that guy in a position where now he feels gay, and we all know that. Remember the gay panic nonsense?
Against the wall. It's like fight or flight for them. At
That's
that
right.
point, it's
He's
like,
freaked
oh.
out, and his
Mhm.
first reaction is to punch you in the face. And I said, you are putting that. You're a victim blamer. I go, "No, that is not victim blaming. That is saying, look, you want to learn how to navigate the world in a way that's safe
Mhm.
for you. Don't lie to people about who and what you are. Especially,
No.
dudes are more like that than women. I've never tricked anybody because I've always been, but
Mhm.
I believe that women have always been like, oh, dude, I don't care. Let's just do it. It's going to be amazing. But dudes will be like, no.
Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. There's some sort of an attack to their masculinity if you're like, oh, but that's
That's
gay
right.
and I'm not gay.
That's right. That's right. That's why it's important
So
for us
and I mean, just respect that.
and respect the other person. I mean, that's
Yeah, no,
really what
exactly.
it comes down
And
to,
then calling them, oh,
respect.
it's transphobic because you won't have sex with a trans woman, because that's
I
not
mean,
transphobic.
really,
It's like not
n-
attracted to penis,
it's
you
called
know?
sexuality, people. But
Yeah, exactly.
that's that total indoctrination, gaslighting that this new trans
Mhm.
space. So I want to kind of get into to you because I think I remember having a little bit of reading a little bit of your email, and you were telling me that you started to get into the community. You were looking for community, and you found community online. And as that started to progress, why don't you tell us about what happened when you started to get into the community online?
Yeah, so I met someone online who wrote me. It's like, oh, you're transitioning. We have a community for that, and then I was invited on a Discord channel and Discord server, and then started chatting with people. It took about 4 months, and they were like, oh,
Okay.
you're a trans medicalist, you're true scum. You're like, we don't want that. It's like trans is for everyone, and blah blah blah. And like the truth is like you don't need dysphoria to be trans. So I was like, why would I do that if I don't have dysphoria? You know, I, why would I do that?
I don't get it. You don't need dysphoria to be trans? What?
No.
They're actually saying that.
Yeah, the transmaxing of saying, "Oh, I was an unattractive dude, so I'm gonna become a cute girl." It's like, well, if you're not attractive, it could be your energy, it could be that you're introverted, it could be some traits that will not translate well as living or taking any short and becoming a female. I mean, if you have like, if you're concerned about your big nose won't shrink as you
That's
take
right.
HRT.
That's right.
That's you're not fixing. It's not a blanket treatment.
Nope. That's
It
thank you for
treats
saying
gender
that.
dysphoria, and I do it for myself.
Thank
Not,
you.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So you're on this in this community. I call that community
Oh,
lightly, and they just start
yeah,
going at you because see people how
yeah.
they call people like her and I trans medicalists, or yes, transsexual is a medical condition. It is exactly what it is.
Mhm.
There's no beating around the bush, and
Yeah,
what
but now they
and
took it off the DSM in 2022. They say we need to take it out because it's not a mental condition. It's like maybe not for you, maybe you're a crossdresser. But
that's
for
right.
me, it was distress. I had
Thank
severe.
you.
I was at first when I came back to see a therapist in my late 20s. It
Yeah.
was not about gender dysphoria. I didn't come to the cabinet saying, I want to be a girl. I was like, I
Sure.
have severe anxiety, night terrors, high stress levels,
Yeah.
depression. I've been depressed all of my 20s. Actually, it was like, oh, so I was diagnosed with long depression. But then they're like, we can give you antidepressants, but this is a crutch. We need to find what causes this. And this is when I went to therapy. And at some point, a therapist told me, it's like, you keep telling me about like being more girly or like not liking your puberty and everything and trying to be a man. It's like, but what if you're you're not really the man you're trying to be, and just putting this in my face, I started weeping. I was like, you know what? I've been
Oh,
lying to myself.
wow.
I,
That's
I
really
tried. I
beautiful.
mean, I tried. Some people will tell you, and they're just trolls. They tell you like your XY chromosomes, just be a man. It's like, trust me, I tried.
I hate
It
when
didn't
people
work.
say
It
that.
didn't work, but I
Also,
tried. I didn't start transitioning at 14. I mean,
there you go. And that's what I say. I tried for many years to live as a woman. So don't
mhm.
tell me, like people say it to me all the time, well, Buck, how come you couldn't just stay a woman? I tried until the age of
Yeah.
30. How much more do you want me to try? I didn't, like you just said, we did not transition as children. And I'm telling you, it's going to make your transition so much better and that you lived a life prior to transitioning. It really is. I do believe this.
Yeah, I already feel so much better. And even I was talking with my mom and I told her, maybe with society now, if I was born 10 years later, I could have maybe transitioned earlier and it would have made my 20s easier. But,
Yeah.
she told me, yeah, but you were in your 20s in the 2000s, and there was a bit of a backlash and a bit of a step back for the gay community. So it's like, maybe now it's just the right time and
Well,
not,
I
I mean,
believe that. I believe timing is everything. Number one, number two. I
mhm.
believe the universe puts us in a way that you're supposed to do things. I'm one of those people who believe things happen when they're supposed to, and I don't
Yeah.
believe even a 20-year-old understands what this particular situation means. I don't believe that.
Oh, I mean, there are success stories, but
There are,
yeah,
but
but
they're
now with
rare.
the community and everyone transitioning, I see it's like, oh, the number of detransitioner is so low. Wait in 10 years,
That's what I'm trying
you
to
know?
say.
Yeah.
Yes, there are success stories right now, but let's wait for and that's the sad part about it, is now we're going to wait. We're literally going to wait to see what happens with these young people. And we're already
Hmm.
seeing the desistance and the detransition space happening. And I don't care if it's one detransitioner or 500. They should not be existing in our space because we're not
No,
taking care.
exactly.
Yeah,
This is
we're
a
not.
failed assessment so this was not gender dysphoria. This was gender confusion or body dysmorphia.
There you go.
We hear a lot of girls that are detransitioning from being trans men that were like they were assaulted as kids
There you
when
go.
they grew up, when they started having puberty and having female form or like
Yeah.
looking more like a woman, having breasts and stuff, and they get bad touched.
Yep.
and then they get body dysmorphia around it.
That's
They
right.
don't like their female attributes because they see it as attracting predators. So, and then they say, I don't like this, I want to move away from this, and then they're 16, 17, and they get double mastectomy. And
I,
then some years later, it's like, well, therapy could have helped you with post-traumatic stress syndrome from being
you
attacked.
think? But they
You
took
know?
therapy out. They made therapy called, now they call it affirmation. That's not therapy. That's
Mhm.
affirming somebody's, on some level, I don't want to say delusion because this isn't a delusion. It's a medical space. So it's
Yeah.
misdiagnosing people on and their medical necessity. And these kids, exactly what you said, like so many other things. I mean, I interviewed detransitioners and
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
says the same thing. They had BPD or I don't know, all these assessments or autism or whatever. And that was
Mhm.
never diagnosed ever.
No, exactly. It gets
How
diagnosed after detransitioning, or it's like,
Yeah. They went through medical transition, most of these detransitioners, to have their breasts, and they're all have been, most women, I
yeah,
interviewed one trans woman who went back to living as a man, and he had his penis removed. And now he's so pissed because he doesn't have a penis. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm just like, what? What? We're putting surgeries before mental health.
yeah. No, exactly. And
What?
it should be mental health, social transition, medical transition with hormone therapy when the time is right, but don't go through any form of surgeries before a few years
That's
along the
right.
way.
That's how it was. That's how I did it. That's,
Mhm.
why it is safe, and I
That's how
can
it was
prove
in
it.
Quebec as well. It used to be 2 years of therapy
That's right.
and plus our 1 year of social transitioning within the 2 years of therapy.
It's the social transition that is the part that is missing, that is so important, because I had to do the thing. I had to live as a
Yeah.
man without hormones, see how it was.
Mhm.
You're sort of putting it on. But the great thing is
Exactly.
you can take it off if you don't want to go that route. That's why it's so
Yeah.
great.
I've had people come talk to me online that said, like, I've been like a gender fluid for a few years. I tried it. I tried going to bars dressed as a woman and stuff. And I really feel that it's right for me. And now I'm at the end of my therapy. I was talking with a 29-year-old who's like 6 months into social transitioning. It's like, I'm convinced that it's right. It's like, well, it takes a few months to get to an endocrinologist anyway. So you
That's
can
right.
put on the wait list. You get put on the wait list. It's going to take 4 or 5 months. And then you can take your first blood test to see what kind of measures you have. And then you'll be your other 6 months and then you're ready. If you know it's
That's
right.
right.
And you can be on the wait list. I was on the wait list at first and I wasn't even sure I wanted to do HRT. So
Great.
it takes 6 months. So I could go after the 6 months and they called me, you get an appointment. I was like, you know what? Not my thing.
Great.
But
That's why
in the
it's
end,
so.
I went. But
But you have this time period. I
mhm.
call it the bumper, right? It's a cushion.
Oh, exactly.
So you're just making sure that that's where we went off the rails. And so
Yeah.
that I want to go back to this community nonsense because it really
Yeah.
upsets me, especially because it's supposed to be a community and it's not anymore. It's really
No,
become, I don't like using the word cult, but it's become very
that's how it
cult
feels.
like. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you're in there and you're like in there, like, are we in there 4 months and
Four
kind of
months ish.
getting to
Yeah.
know? So you're getting to know people, people are getting to know you, and
Hmm.
then you started to voice some opinions. Is that what happened?
Yeah, exactly. And it's an echo chamber. So how it works. It's an echo chamber. So everyone
Totally.
just confirms everyone else's beliefs and
Right.
they run around it. And then they make you feel because they will have the other group. So they will talk about the others and saying the others, the Truscom, the turfs and whatever. The trans exclusionary radical feminists. No, they're just feminists.
They're just feminists. Totally.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Like, they always have to come up with these names.
Yeah, no,
I'm true
exactly.
scum. Like, they think they're doing, you think you're helping our community by saying that kind of stuff? They're literally
Yeah.
creating a schism in our community. They're the ones who are doing it, not you and I.
No, exactly.
It's bizarre behavior. That's why I
Mhm.
know they're not trans people. There's something else. So
Yeah, because they will get very defensive if you question it.
that's the key right there, right?
Yeah.
When people get too defensive and are not willing to sort of have a they won't even have a conversation. They won't discuss. So I go, why am I transphobic to you? Block. I'm like, just
Yeah.
asking a question. Why am I transphobic? Block.
Hmm.
That's how we know it's, and we're all dealing with it. Not just us, even people outside of this community who would like to know more about trans people, and then they get called turf or bootlicker or
Yeah.
yeah. I
It's
find it
like,
quite fascinating that you can't even voice a different opinion in these spaces.
nope. It's no, but they call it the circle of silence in those echo chambers. It's you found a community. Maybe your parents kicked you out because you were gay at first and now you're trans and
Sure.
you're trying to find a community. So you find this community and they're like, the others, they hate everyone. They will hate you because you're not passing. You know, Blair, they keep saying that about Blair, that she's saying that because she's passing.
Not
Like, no,
true.
come on.
Not true.
That's not why she's doing it, you know?
No. No.
So they'll always say like you won't find another community. So I had some friends that are still friends. They're at me it's like I'm still in the community. I'm still on this Discord server, you know, and I still talk to those people because they're kind of my only friends. But I keep quiet.
That's horrible. That is horrible. It's like you feel like you can't leave on some level because then,
Hmm.
so are they in that space telling you you can't leave here because if you leave, nobody will be your community? Are they sort of saying that?
Yeah,
Or
because
it's
it's not a community. There was, you know, the truth come. They're not a community. They're elitist, and you know they'll always tell you they're prettier than you, and they won't talk to you.
that's
It's like
not true. That is
that's not
actually
true.
not true. And, I'm very good friends with Blair.
No,
That is
and
not true at all.
what's funny, it was a group for trans women. So they were mostly bashing Blair, you know?
Of course,
And
they
at some
hate
point I
her.
was like, yeah. And when I started, you know, speaking the true scum speech that you need dysphoria to do this, you know, think twice before you transition. If you're doing this, you know, if you get the what they call that on Reddit is the euphoria boner when you
Ah,
put a dress on. It's like seriously, if you get a boner while putting a dress on, you're not trans. You're a crossdresser.
that's
You know,
right.
imagine if I was getting a hard on every morning trying to dress up and go to work or go to work. It's like impossible to talk. So I just walk around with a boner, like some people
That's what's
getting in the bathroom
happening.
because
Yeah.
that's what's happening. It's like I don't know. I just dress a woman in the morning and I dress as a woman in the morning. Does it get me aroused? You
Nope.
know, it's
Nope. That's
I'm
not a
just
trans
I'm
woman.
just putting my clothes on, doing a makeup, and then going to work. Just like
That's
everyone else, you know?
because you're a actual real trans woman.
Yeah.
The euphoria and getting a boner is so AGP,
Mhm.
so cross dresser. I used to run an actual like dungeon here in Los Angeles where
Mm.
clients would come. It was great. It's a great space for people to
Mhm.
explore their own safe in a very safe environment for adults. And
Yeah.
all the cross dressers that would come were super macho truck driver dudes, and they want to put panties on. It's awesome. And then they would get boners and they put the panties on and they got to have this
I'm
space to
good.
kind of do it in, and then they would get
Yeah.
dressed back in their trucker clothes and go. And that's the thing, those are the people who have now infiltrated here, and this is not euphoric. Like, I don't feel
No,
like I'm getting off on dressing like a dude, like. And you notice it's mostly coming from trans women space. You don't see this coming
it's a look.
from.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. I think
interesting.
yeah, because I heard there are some women that are it's AAP, it's
Yeah,
autoandrophilia.
that's right.
I
Yeah,
heard that you know, some women would get off of being like drag kings and stuff like this, but
sure.
it's really a man thing. Yeah,
It's really a male space, and also I
yeah,
also, in my opinion, I noticed that most of the rhetoric and most of the anger and it's all coming from these supposedly trans women. Do you see that as well?
yeah. Because even I follow some trans men who are like you know not trans medicalists are saying like oh it's
Right.
okay to be non-binary and everything, but they're not all around the place, you know, and they don't push like this male energy at some point of
Yeah.
just like I'm gonna
That's
fight for my rights to be, and it's like what rights? I mean,
right. And also, you don't have a right to walk in a woman's room with a boner. Sorry,
no,
you don't get that right. That is not part how this is working. And it's so. How does that make you feel as a trans woman who really
I
wants to just
mean,
be a woman?
yeah, I mean, most places I go, like here in Canada, it's a bit like in Scandinavia. You know, we always have the non-gendered bathroom, the
Yeah,
single stall one, and
yeah.
then most restaurants, since they all renovated maybe 5, 6 years ago, they all have it's all water closets. So instead of having a large female, a large male bathroom,
There
they
you
have
go.
4 doors.
Great,
They're
great.
all for everyone. You all wait like everyone else,
That's
and
right.
yeah, so we're slowly getting rid of gendered bathrooms. So when people see I know that a lot of people hear that, and a lot of women are like, yeah, but it's mixed bathroom. So now we're with all the men. It's like, no,
Yeah.
it's not. It's not stalls like metal stalls that with 1 foot of opening
Yeah.
underneath it. It's separate rooms.
That's right. That's how it is in
And
Europe. Yeah.
yeah, and if there's a non-gendered, if it's still gendered, like most government buildings, and there's like a handicap bathroom or something, they just started changing the signs to just be like the half men, half women
Oh,
symbol,
okay.
and just
Sure.
like this is a everyone, or they call it a family bathroom in some
Yeah,
places. It's like I
that's
use
right.
this one, you
Yeah.
know.
That I mean that duh. I remember when I didn't. I mean, you could use the women's room, no one would know, and I could use the men's room. But I remember when was
Mhm,
sort of not in that space. I still used the women's room and would get nailed
mhm.
every time. A man is in here. I'm like, I'm a lady. So
Yeah.
I dealt with that nonsense. But then the family bathroom started to come, and I would always try to find
Mhm.
that bathroom because I
I
think
still always use this one. I'm like, just don't take any chances. I'm not a biological female. I won't run into a women's bathroom for no
that's because
reason.
you
And
care.
if there's only those two options, I would either go with a group of female friends or
Yes.
ask a guy friend to go, same time. Like, I'm going to use the stall. Just wait for me. Wash your
Yes.
hands and you can use the urinal.
Right.
I'll use the stall. Just wait
Right.
for me. If everyone asks the question, I'm not by myself. It's
But
like,
also, men are much cooler with women going into the toilet. And as you know, women do need a different space. There are different ways of being as a
mhm.
woman. Women are assaulted more. Women are put in
Yeah.
predicaments because of male behavior. And we have to be honest about that. It has nothing to do with trans people, it has everything to do with the safety of women.
Mhm.
But women are being overridden right now by a group of
Yeah.
men who think they're women and can just where is this power? Where is this power coming from?
I don't know. And of course, there's a lot of backlash coming from it. And it's like, who's gonna
That's
who's
right.
gonna pay for that? It's like, it's me, you
That's
know?
right.
If
Thank
you're
you.
an AGP dude with a beard saying, I'm a woman, I go in there and I want to fight it. And then if someone knows I'm a trans woman and I get in the female's bathroom, it's like, you're like that dude? Because
No, no,
we're humans, we tend to generalize and just saying, well,
that's
that
right.
bearded dude told me he was trans.
That's
So now, and
right.
now you're trans. So you're with that guy, guilty by association.
Bam. You just said it. So same with me. I get guilty now. Everybody, you should be using the women's room, Buck. You should. I'm like, really? Come on, look at me. I don't make any
Yeah.
problems. I go to the stall. I take, pee pee, poo poo, whatever. I wash my hands and I get out. And I keep, I pretty much don't walk in like, I pretty much keep my head down.
I
Do
look
my,
at the ground. I look
yeah,
at the ground the
totally.
whole time.
I don't want any eye
I
contact. I'm good. I peed. Like, can we go now? So that's the
Yeah.
problem. You and I, who both pass, you should be using the women's room and I should be using the men's room. But now we got sucked into this stuff. And now we're being told that we can't do that because we are part of the crazy people,
Mhm.
which isn't
Yeah. It's
fair.
like, I mean, 2 years ago, I wasn't passing at all. I was like maybe 6 months on HRT.
Okay.
I did just like my
Okay.
skin started glowing and I
Okay.
was using the men's room, but in some places they were like girlfriends are like, no, come with us. Like, okay. But then I
Great.
would go in there. It's like, we'll probably even though my body didn't change that much, I was
Yeah.
giving a feminine energy, I guess, or
Sure.
you could call it that way. And just like, people have a sixth sense for this.
They do. It's
I'm
true.
not like a grown dude shaving in the locker room. And on that point, locker rooms, if I go to the gym, I change at home and then I shower at home because this is too much.
See,
Because at this point, it's not a stall. It's like I'm going to take my gym clothes off or
that's
my clothes
right.
off to change in my gym clothes and I have
That's
a
right.
penis, you
That's
know?
right.
So
Thank
I wouldn't
you.
feel comfortable being in the women's and I wouldn't feel comfortable being in the men's, with
That's right. You
boobs
can't.
and
No, they won't like you on the men's side. They'll beat you up.
they won't like me.
No,
No,
yep, nope, that energy won't work there. But
no, exactly.
thank you for being respectful. People are going to hear this and see this, and I'm telling you, and there are trans women like Anne who cares about women and doesn't want to put that. Thank you
Well, I mean, it used to be like this. There's been trans women since, forever.
forever.
I hear people talking like my aunt was saying in the 80s and 90s, and like we never had this kind of debate. We never
No,
had this kind of scandal around
no,
men and biological male in the women's room because
that's
no,
right.
you wait until you can be as stealth or at least as passing as possible
That's
to
right.
go there. Because I think passing could be, you know, 25% physical, 25% maybe
Sure,
my voice or something, but it's like
sure.
50% energy.
It's totally
It's like,
energy.
Hmm.
People will say there's something weird about Buck when they don't know about me because
Hmm.
there is some. I mean, I still have female stuff coming out. There's no doubt about it. My voice is weird. I'm kind of a short guy. I'm 5'8". There are things, and people will
Hmm.
be like, there's just something different about Buck, right? They can't put their finger on it, but they do what you just said. People can still pick up on certain
Yeah.
things. And that's
Oh,
why
of course.
we have to understand that we're never going to be maybe fully passing or whatever. But to make the whole point of transsexualism is to fit into the world, is it not?
Yeah, no, it is. All I want to do is like, okay, I came to the term that I have gender dysphoria. I need to act on it because it doesn't go away. I tried to make it go away. I tried to be as heterosexual as possible. Like I said earlier, I didn't date guys for very long because I didn't want it to bring me back to that questioning about my gender. I was like, if I date a guy, I'm going to be questioning again. If I
Right.
date a woman and I act as a man, I'm going to fight this.
That's
But
right.
no, there's no fighting it. But it took me a while to realize it. And I mean, that's why we shouldn't transition people at 15 first. And also, I mean, I came to peace with it. And I was like, okay, so I want to be as much of a woman socially as I can. So going through HRT, I makeup tricks and everything. And just like, I want to move on. Like stealth is the end game. So when they say
Totally.
you don't need to pass to be trans, it's like, no, this is true. Not everyone will be passing, but I mean,
No.
no, but also if you're like a bearded dude with chest hair in a dress saying, I'm a woman, it's like, well, dude,
Yeah, like,
come on.
dude, no one's gonna. But that's the difference, and that those people never existed before. They were cross
No,
dressers, or they were doing something else. But
behind
that's
closed doors.
behind closed doors, and
Hmm.
that's what I want everyone to see. And it's why, thank you, Anne, for showing up today, because they need to see us. We are not being represented. We are being pushed to the side for the fetishists and the weirdos and the non-binaries. And again, I don't care how you identify. I used to identify as a punk rock crazy person with bald head and tattoos, and I was a girl, right? So that being said, go for it. But stop
Yeah.
sort of appropriating a medical condition, because this is a medical condition that hurts. It hurts us, and it's hard for us
Yeah.
to get to this space to finally realize we have to medicalize and we have to sort of fit in to the world in order for to alleviate our
Hmm.
dysphoria. So how is your dysphoria these days?
It comes back. I would say it
Okay.
kind of goes with my hormone cycles because, when I don't know if it's the end of the beginning of the cycle, but of course I feel a bit sadder. I can get depressed more easily. And this is when I start questioning myself. So I was like, oh, I don't feel that well today about it. But not questioning my transition, but just questioning if I'm passing, if I'm good enough to get
Right.
out of the house. I just want to stay home and do nothing for like a few days. But then it passes. And then I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. It was just like, I was just depressed for 3 days.
Right. And but that's also a lot of us do have depression. A lot of us it is
Hmm.
hard to get out of the house. It takes a long time. I mean, now I'm so solid. It took a long time for me to get rid of those same feelings early on. I didn't want to leave the house. People would call me she still, and you have to navigate around that. And because I was in that more androgynous stage for a while, and but my voice was still
Yeah.
female
But
even before
I
I
wouldn't
took
correct
HRT.
people.
Yep.
Like, they call me he. I'm
Right.
like, okay. And then it kind
Right.
of, it kind of pinches. And they're
Of
like,
course.
okay, so they registered me as male.
That's right.
So I'm like, there's something I'm doing that's like, is it my gestures? Is it my face? Is my makeup weird? Do I have a 5 o'clock shadow or something? Because, I had to go to laser. It just doesn't
Right.
go away by itself with HRT. So
Right.
at some point, I would still have a bit of facial hair. And it's like, oh, is it my voice? Should I work on my voice? Is it my hair? Should I get like a better haircut? Because at first I was just growing my hair. So
Yeah, well,
and it's like,
again,
well, you just have to take it. You get clocked as a male or a female in your case,
that's right.
and then you're like, okay, what happened? Why did they clock me? And what can I do to not be clocked? And I don't get misgendered anymore.
No way. No way. Not even your voice. I'm telling you, there's just no
Oh,
way.
well,
But you
thanks.
did the
'Cause
work.
it's a bit concern for me.
No, it's
It's a bit
not.
of a
It
concern
sounds
for me. My voice. This is why I'm writing. Actually, this is why I'm blogging, and I'm not.
doing talk. But no, but I'm
Yeah.
telling you, your voice doesn't seem masculine to me at all. It just seem, and if once I look at you, it totally matches with you on some level. And I actually like
Oh,
those kind of
thanks.
voices on women. I think it's sexy to have
I
like a
like
kind
it
of deep.
too. I was
Yeah.
like, I wanted to go. I wanted to go to a deeper voice anyway. First, my voice was very deep, so I was like, I cannot go anime character. That's
Right.
impossible for me.
Right.
And but also, I kind of like those voices.
Me
The
too.
deeper, warmer voices. I was like, but this is a goal I can achieve by
There you go.
myself.
There you
And because yeah, when you transition, you have to be realistic about your goals.
go. Brilliant. Kids. That's
I'm
right.
5'10". I have broad shoulders.
There you
I
go.
have German ancestry, so we're
Yep.
kind of
Yep.
bigger people.
You are bigger
Um,
people, but that's part of it. I mean, I actually
mhm,
know biological women who are big people. So again, they get actually asked if they're trans,
mhm.
which is
My youngest
funny.
sister is 6'1".
There you go.
And she's
That's tall.
she's not a small girl. Yeah,
No, that's tall for a
very
woman.
athletic.
Oh yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. There you go. So again, see our ideas of how we should look as men and women. And I used to get all the time teased about my voice, and it used to kill me until finally one day I said, you can change the things you can change, and you can't change the things you can't change, right? So I just can't deal
Mhm.
with my voice. I don't care anymore. Eventually I think you just become so
Yeah,
like, okay, I can only change certain things, and if you can't please everybody, not everybody's going to be
exactly.
okay with you, and
Yeah, and
that's right.
at some point you're far along in your transition,
Yeah,
and you saw the changes that would happen because HRT is different for everyone. I mean,
that's
our
right.
hormones are
That's
different for everyone. And
that's
it's like, okay, this is the way it's going, and then this won't change. You need to let go because you're gonna live with dysphoria the whole time. But it kind of comes back at some point. I start focusing on those points, but
yeah,
more and more I'm able to just say, this is out of my control. This is not something I can do for myself.
good for
I don't
you.
really have hips. My shoulders are broader than my hips,
Doesn't matter.
but it's the V shape. And yeah, and then I looked online. I was like, a lot of models have
A lot of
V
models.
shape.
I
Yeah.
was an actual female model. That's why I became a
Hmm.
model, because I had that very male figure as a girl,
Hmm.
right? I didn't have that. That's why I think also my transition went well as well, because my body was not feminine at all. My body, I always had a very masculine type of body. But then see how we have these stereotypes? Like a woman
Hmm.
can't not have hips, or a man with hips is like, I have a friend, a guy friend who has big hips. He hates it
Yeah.
because people tease him about it, right? But
Hmm.
those are those stereotypes that we sort of play into,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
which
have
is
a friend like this. We keep teasing him about his PPL. He doesn't have one, but he,
I mean, I think what you're saying
it's,
is so important, and I just people are gonna love you because you are taking responsibility for yourself, and
mhm.
I think that's the message I always like to say about transitioning is it's your responsibility. It's not my responsibility
Yeah.
to make sure you're comfortable. It's your responsibility. If I
Hmm.
misgender you, it's never. I think also intention. Right? We need to look at intention of what are the intentions of people when they misgender you, or
Yeah. Because I had a guy a few months ago. I was at a bar with friends, and the guy came next to me, kind of bumped into me from behind, and was like, "Move, little guy," He called me little guy, but he was shorter than me. I was like, at first, it's like, "Oh, do you have you know, are you subconscious about your height?" And then, but
totally.
he went outside, and then he tried to pick a fight with my friend's boyfriend, and I was like,
Oh,
"Okay, no, he's that kind of guy. No, he's
he's
trying to
that.
pick a fight tonight."
That's right. He's that
You know,
angry dude. That's right. He doesn't matter who
Mhm.
you are, what you are. Oh,
Exactly. He's
that's
got
why
to find
just
something
I
to
hate
pick
guys
up
like
on.
that. I stay away from those kind of crap. So I don't really go to a lot of straight bars, I'll be honest, because I always feel like there's this energy from men in straight bars that's so different when you go to a gay
Yeah,
bar. Everyone's like,
yeah.
woo! And then you go to the gay bar and dudes are angry and they're looking for chicks and it just feels so dark in there. And like, it's just, I don't know, it's a different energy.
Hmm. Yeah, no, exactly. I always go to the same bar first, non-gendered bathroom. It's four doors at first, and it's in the gay village, but not like, not on St. Catherine where it's like all the
Yeah,
almost red light and like all the really gay clubs. Like, there's going to be sex in the bathrooms and stuff,
totally.
like the
Yeah,
young gays.
yeah.
But then, no, it's like older people that want to actually go on a regular date and, everyone's chill with everyone.
That's the
Um,
way. It's so
yeah.
much more comfortable, especially for people like us. It's just more comfortable to
hmm
go there and we're accepted. How does your family deal with you now?
Uh, my sisters were just like, when I told them, like, okay, have you picked a name? You don't care. They're
Excellent.
younger than me because they're from a different father. So it was like
Okay,
my mom's second union, and they're 24 and 26 now. So
great.
they're late millennials, I would say, and they were just like, well, okay, no problem,
Great.
no problem. My mom told me she knew, she knew from a
Wow.
young age. She was like, yeah, yeah,
Wow.
I knew, but that's where my mom's cooler than some trans parents.
Yeah.
She didn't say a thing. She was like, that wasn't my battle. That was for
Wow.
you. That was your struggle. That was for you to come to peace with it. That was for you to accept it and move on or not. But it was not my call to ask you if you feel like you're a girl or something.
What an amazing mom. That is
That
huge.
mhm.
She actually know like that. I don't even know. I have no words because I think your mom sounds amazing. And that's true as parents, right? Like we kind of got my parents kind of did the same thing. They just let me dress like a boy, do the thing. They never made a big deal out of it. It wasn't like a thing that they do now, right? And I think like that's really an important part of parenting, just sort of letting your child make mistakes, navigate, be there to catch
Yeah,
them if they're going to fall off the cliff, but you got to let them
exactly.
fall off the curb. Falling off the curb isn't going to hurt them. Falling off the cliff, yeah. But what your mom did is
Yeah.
hugely amazing parenting. I have to give your mom a big hug from me. That's great parenting.
She's your age. She just turned 61
Ah, right
last
on.
weekend. You see, so that's your generation.
It totally
And she was like,
is.
"Yeah, my boy's little
Wow.
how do we say little fairy or I don't know.
Yeah,
I
totally.
won't say queer because my mom didn't call me queer. I got called queer at that in
I'm
the high school,
sure.
and
Sure
stuff.
you
I got
did.
bullied for being
Oh.
like this skinny,
Oh,
effeminate boy or something. But yeah, effeminate.
yeah.
That's the one I was looking for. It's like my mom always knew.
Yeah.
My dad just assumed I was gay.
Yeah.
So
It's
when I
always that
came out,
assumption.
yeah,
Yeah.
he apologized to me because every time like we were moving or something, I was trying to take some furniture and was like, no, not you. Ask your brother because my brother is huge. He's a general contractor now, and my brothers are my brothers are huge. They're gym bots,
Right on. Love
And
it.
it's
I
like,
love
no,
those
no,
kind of dudes.
Alex is gonna do it. You can broom behind
Yeah.
us. It's like always. It was always like this, and
Stereotypes.
yeah, and it was like, I'm okay if you're gay. You can bring a boy home or something. It's like, or
Wow.
sometimes I'd bring girls. It's like, why do you still date girls? I'm sure it's not your thing. And
Wow.
you
The
just assumed I was
assumptions.
gay. I was like closet
Yes.
homosexual. And
Right.
yeah. And at some
Of
point I
course.
was bi. It's like, are you sure? Like, because
Well, they're all mixed
she
up.
was,
They're like, no, that's our gay side. Actually, no, it's your trans.
yeah,
Actually, he's actually a trans woman.
yeah. It was nice because I took some time before telling my family, and right before I came out to my family,
Yeah.
I was on the phone with my dad, and he had another boy, so he raised three boys,
Oh, wow.
and so his point was we were talking, was like, oh, I love you guys, but I always wanted a girl. I was like,
Well,
I came
yeah.
I came up to him like a week later and it's like, oh my God, I was such an asshole when you were a teenager. I never asked if you were, he said, I know trans people. My father, I joke with him. I say
Wow.
he's the token gay, the token straight guy of the gay village. Cause yeah, he installs like a draft lines for bars and stuff. And all his clients, it's all the
Okay.
gay bars.
That's
And he's like, no, no, that's
awesome.
my crowd. That's my crowd. But he's straight. He's like, I know I'm straight. I tried when I was in my 20s. That's not my thing.
Good for him. He sounds
But
so, your actual
yeah, and it's
family
like,
sounds amazing.
yeah, it's like I know trans people. Like, why did I never kind of wonder that way? I just figured you were like power bottom or something, like
Power
you're a
bottom.
super effeminate gay guy. And
Right.
but yeah, so it went on pretty well. My
Wow.
dad I think he keeps calling me he, but it's hard for parents. Some people are like, oh,
Right.
you should go contactless with your parents then. That's what the community tells you. It's like if your parents don't misgender you, you should just cut ties with them.
They tell you that. That's so
Yeah, it's the no
insane.
contact. And Jeffrey Marsh says that to kids on his TikTok as
Oh,
well. And I saw that in the trans community as well.
I'm all
It's
over
like,
that, dude.
it hurts when you get misgendered. And if your parents or your siblings misgender you, you should just cut ties.
Oh my
It's like,
God.
yeah, but they've lived with you. Like they saw me as a guy for 30 years. So 30
Duh.
something years. It's hard coming back from that.
Wow, that is just the most. That's why I'm telling you, this community is not a community. It's cult-like, telling you how to do things, get away from your parents, breaking up the
Hmm.
family unit. Family is important, okay?
Hmm.
Especially during your transition and especially as a young person. When
Yeah.
you lose your family, I lost my family as a young person because of drugs and alcohol, and it took me a long
Hmm.
time to get back with my family, and I do not wish that upon anybody. And your parents like you and love you and care about you. They just
Hmm.
don't understand. They're losing their daughter or losing their son. That's
Yeah.
the bottom line, whether you like it or not. You've got to give them compassion.
Oh, yeah. When you transition, everyone transition.
Thank you.
They all transition with you.
Thank you, friend. Thank
You
you.
know, your whole family. And it's sort of misgendering you at first or saying like, I don't know if I'm comfortable yet. They're not comfortable now,
They're
but
not.
as you go along with your transition and you're a
Yeah,
few years into it, they'll just see you for who you are. But
that's right.
it's not a, you know, HRT is not a magic pill that you take and you're going to wake up tomorrow morning. You're a
That's right.
different person, you know.
That's what
It
they're
takes
not
work.
teaching.
We have to work to be
Thank
accepted
you.
as the gender we want to be accepted as.
Thank you.
And
Thank
it's
you.
the same for your family, everything, but you don't need to cut ties with family,
It's
especially not at that
dangerous.
moment, because it was hard for me. The first year and a half, I was still going through depression because it didn't go away, you know,
Right.
all of a sudden. So I was still in therapy. I was still going through depression. I was still working to reduce my antidepressants and my
Yeah.
anti-anxiety, and just like, yeah, I'm not on any of those anymore.
Oh,
So that means I
God.
must be doing something right,
You
right?
are. You
So now
are.
I'm estrogen and progesterone. No more antidepressants, no more
Are you seeing a
anti-anxiety.
are you seeing any mental health care at this point? Or are you
At
just
the moment, no, because I had a
okay?
corporate job with insurance. I lost
Okay.
my insurance, and
Okay.
my therapist was private. And now
Okay.
we have a huge. It's almost a 2 year wait time in the public
Wow.
system because of
Wow.
COVID. Because everyone needed therapy during COVID, right?
Oh, true.
So everyone that didn't
True.
have insurance, it's like
Yeah.
they got overwhelmed. Like
Wow.
as soon as we were in lockdown and people were locked at home, we're like, oh, 2 years.
Wow. That's actually
Yeah.
shocking, really. And
Yeah,
also,
it's sad. So I don't have a
it's sad.
therapist right now, but I have family, I have friends, you know, I have people I can talk to.
And that, thank God you have your family. I'm not even
Hmm.
kidding. I noticed this also, and the trans people who are solid with their family seem happier, seem more
Yeah.
well adjusted, are able to move forward, aren't part of this whole insanity. The people who are not with their family and are being told to leave become very
Hmm.
hateful, resentful, angry at everybody. You can see the difference of people who have literally been able to transition with their family and
Yeah.
the ones who are being told,
Hmm.
and Jeffrey, what's his name? He does that because he was kicked out of his family. So he thinks like now everyone should just disown their family because of his own. He's projecting his
Yeah, he's
own.
projecting. I saw
Yes,
it. I saw the projection.
that's
Yeah.
you can see right through him. He's
Hmm.
actually getting creepier and creepier and more
Yeah.
dangerous. I feel like he's becoming very dangerous, if you ask me. Like
Yeah, I
kind of.
even made a video like how to talk to your boss, like responding in a condescending way. It's like you're gonna get everyone to lose their jobs now.
I know.
You know, I don't
I
talk to my
know.
boss this way.
It's dangerous. He calls himself a life coach. Can you imagine the things he's telling people? He recently released something about disrespect your elders. I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, that's the one. Disrespect your elders, and he's talking about employers and
I
like your
know.
family and everything. It's
Yep.
like, no, no,
Yep.
don't disrespect your elders.
I
And the
just can't.
problem with Gen Z, I think, is that they don't listen to their elders anymore, you know?
No, I'm considered a bad person. I'm considered,
Yeah.
somebody who you should not listen to. I'm considered a turf, a transphobe, a bootlicker, everything
Hmm.
under the sun. And it's
Yeah.
sad.
Old
It
gays are bad.
saddens me.
Old lesbians are bad because
Totally.
they say
Totally.
they don't accept non-binary. So it's not they don't accept, it's that it's
No,
different. Stop
that's
saying it's the same, you know?
That's exactly my point. I never said that. You can be non-binary all you want, but it's not trans. It's non-binary. And what's the problem? Why are
Oh,
you so
exactly.
obsessed?
I got questioned for that at some point. They were like, "Oh, you're
Yeah.
NB-phobic." I was like, "Oh, to me, non-binary is gender non-conforming, and I think it just adds
Bam.
color to the world. You know,
That's
be
right.
an effeminate guy, be a tomboy, be whatever you want, just like diversity. You know,
That's right.
but be
That's right.
quiet. Don't
I
come
know.
into my space, and don't come into my space saying you're I'm a trans femme non-binary Zer, and I'm gonna start mansplaining what a lesbian is to lesbians. Like, who
I
are
mean,
you to
you hit
even
it.
explain something like this, you
I
know?
know the narcissism is out
Yeah,
of control.
if I want to know what a lesbian is, you know, just go watch Ariel Scarcella's channel, you know. She knows what a lesbian is.
She
She's,
does.
the panic button, you know, they know
They're
what a lesbian
great
is,
people.
you know.
All my friends.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do here, friend, is we're trying to rebuild
Yeah.
our community
Yeah,
back
no,
to people
exactly.
like you and I, and that's why we
Mhm.
connect, and they don't like it. They don't like that you and I are connecting, and we're like, no. You can have the transgender umbrella. We're transsexual. Now they're starting to take on our transsexual and calling themselves non-binary transsexuals. I'm like, can't you just leave it
Yeah.
alone? Like,
Oh,
can't you just I don't get it, friend. What
exactly. And even if you really have gender dysphoria or something, like don't go becoming a social justice warrior or something. I think Ty Rivera did. He had some heat for
Yeah,
for
man.
a stand up that was filmed. He was like, "Oh yeah, I know trans people." It was like, "Be a man, be a woman, be quiet." Like,
He's
yeah,
so good. All
just
great
move on,
people.
move on.
Move
And
on.
I
That's how
wanted to be quiet, but now I feel like I have to
you
talk.
have to.
Yeah. See, you
I'm
want to
gonna.
be politic. You want to get
Yep.
into politics. I'll get into politics, but you won't like what I have to say.
Which is what we need. I'm
Mhm.
gonna encourage you. Like, do you have a channel now? Do you have a YouTube channel?
I have one. I don't quite use it because at first I was like, oh, I'm starting to get more confident. I like video games. I'm gonna go on Twitch and then post the
Okay.
videos on YouTube. And it was more
Okay.
about it. And I was blogging about
Uh,
lifestyle and nightlife around
okay.
Montreal and stuff,
Right.
writing like cool non-touristic places for
Yep.
tourists that want to see the actual Montreal stuff like that. But now I'm like, no, no, no. I need to talk about, I wrote an article called "My Problem with the Transgender Umbrella."
I saw. I read. Yep. You're a great
Yeah, and it's
writer.
like so I started writing stuff like this. Yeah, I
Right.
wanted to be a fiction writer when I was younger. Um,
You're a good
but I,
writer.
I I feel like blogging and just like writing those short articles are really good.
Important.
It's good practice and it takes me an hour or two and I'm able
Yep.
to publish it. And
Yep. Yep.
so,
Do it and keep
and if I
doing
can
it.
make a difference, because I want to be able to include, us trans medicalists, but maybe TERFs and people who never saw a trans person before, seeing like, what the hell is going on? And they see this online and they're like, oh, that's what you guys are doing. It's like, no,
That's right.
come, I'll show you what we're doing.
That's
And then
right.
they're like, but we don't see a lot of you. It's like, no, most of us don't want to be seen.
That's
That's,
the whole point of
you know,
transition. You just want to
hmm
transition back into the word as the other sex and walk through. That's
exactly.
why. That's why you don't
I
see
want
us.
to, I want people to see Anne, not see like a trans femme
That's
idol
right.
or something with like, you know, uh, the trans flag everywhere and everything. It's like,
Trans flag. What happened to the flag? It
I,
literally.
I don't have one anymore. I had a
No.
small one. I got rid of it. I put a
Me
Canadian flag
too. I got rid
instead.
of
I was like,
everything
that's my pride.
LGBT.
Yeah,
Totally. I'm like,
that's my
man,
pride flag right there.
right on,
You see?
friend. Excellent.
Yeah.
Good job. When saying queer was okay, it's like they've
Yeah.
even taken over the word queer. Straight people are calling themselves queer. Weird.
Yeah, because it's gender queer. It's like, oh yeah, but I like to do I heard
Wow.
someone saying like I like to do the dishes, so I'm kind of a woman. It's like first that's a hurtful
Stereotype.
stereotype. That's a hurtful
Stereotype.
stereotype. Women like to do chores. It's like no.
It's no,
Uh,
do you know, in my house, I'm married and have a kid and all that. I'm traditional family on some level. I clean the house. I'm the guy who's cleaning the house. I'm the guy who's pretty much doing the housework and all that. So no, we flip those. My partner's
mhm.
out there working, and I'm just like, I'll clean, I'll cook, no worries. Like I'm all good with that stuff. Like it's so stupid, and our
Yeah,
son
that's what my
sees
dad
that.
does as well.
Yeah, right
He's
on.
like semi-retired. He loves to cook, so he's like kitchen is mine.
Brilliant.
You know?
Brilliant. And yeah, and I want my son to see like, no, women don't clean. Okay, men can clean too and do the
Yeah.
laundry and you know what I mean? It's like so ridiculous how I think that a lot of this movement is setting us back on so many levels. And so we're gonna end our interview
Yeah.
now, but I think mostly what I want to say to you is thank you so much for being such an awesome person and really representing um, a space that needs more representation like you. I think people will really enjoy this a lot because they'll see what I'm trying to say out there is that what we're seeing in this community is not what Anne is and not what I am. And we also are kind of fed up with it and we need to start
Yeah.
to stand up. So, would there be something you would want to say before we leave, maybe to anybody or any kind of wisdom you have?
I'd say take your time, and it's the same thing you've been saying. If you think you're
Yeah,
trans, think again.
great,
If
great.
or whatever, or if I don't know, if you're not trans, or anyone watching this channel, I know there's a lot of people that are not trans watching this channel. It's like
Yeah,
you know, thank you for watching a channel like this and seeing that we exist and we're just like normal people, I would say, but we try to be as normal as possible with this very small thing that's like a very small percentage of who I am. It's like I'm the sum of all my parts, and yes, I have gender dysphoria, and that's I'm more than that, and I'm not trying to be trans or whatever. I'm just trying to move on with my life and be better with myself.
Oh, it's beautiful and powerful and amazing.
Mhm.
And that's what I want the world to see. Anne is not going to come into your toilet and knock you over. Anne probably won't even use your toilet and she'll go into the other stall. That's what they need
Yeah,
to see because they
the
equate
non-gendered
us.
ones, or I
Doesn't
hang
matter.
the bars I end up hanging to are the ones with non-gendered bathrooms, because it's
Yeah,
stressful for me as well. It's like,
of course.
I know I'm not a biological woman, but
Yeah,
if I go using this one, even if my friends are around me, I go to the stall, I'm like, and
I
then
know
when it's
it.
time to get out, I wash my hands super fast and just like,
But
you know.
even no one's gonna know, friend. But I appreciate that you're so concerned, and I appreciate
Hmm.
that you see your space in the female space, and you're very polite.
Hmm.
And that's all women are asking. That's it. They're just asking for you to acknowledge their space, and you do it. You Blair is the same way. All the trans women friends I know are exactly like you. They would never make a woman feel uncomfortable. They want to
No,
be.
and
Yeah.
no biological male in female sports, please.
Oh God, thank you for saying that.
They'll need to make a law for this if
That's
they
right.
need to. What I don't like is that, being trans and having gender dysphoria, there are gray areas, but law has to be
Sure.
black and white. But at some point, we'll
Sure.
have to make some law. I will lose some freedom. I might lose some freedom,
Of course.
but I'm
Of
I'm
course.
willing to live with it, because
Thank
now
you.
it's
Thank you.
every other woman. That's about 51% of the population that's losing their rights right now.
That's right. Thank you for saying
Have the
that.
population lose their rights so some AGP people can get a boner in a female bathroom or something. And
Bam.
if there's a law that says I don't have the right to use the women's washroom, I will stop using the women's washroom.
Excellent.
It's better.
Excellent.
I 0.33% of
Thank you.
people in Canada that are trans, so let's say 0.015 or
Totally.
something, trans women. If we lose some rights, so 51% of the population can keep their rights, I mean, so be it.
That's how it works.
I'm
And
the
then,
outlier.
but also, you're acknowledging that. And then guess what? Women will respect you more and will help
Mhm.
to fight to get you your own space. That's what people don't seem to understand. When
Mhm.
you try to push against the majority, you're going to get slaughtered. Okay. And now we're going to lose everything because you're trying to push against the majority of the world. We're the minority. And when you
Mhm.
do that, you're just going to lose. And until we start to respect biology and spaces, and we don't get to take over spaces. That's not how it works. We get invited to the space.
Mhm.
And once we're invited to the space, everything rolls the way I've been walking this space for a long time. I've been invited to male space and I respect it and I'm very grateful for it. And I don't take advantage of it. And I think that's what's missing because AGPs and cross-dressers and
Yeah.
total weirdos have
No, but
hijacked.
that's it. I
Yep.
mean, I mean,
Yep.
I've heard I was invited in female space, and like even when my
Sure.
friends are, they're
Sure.
angry at AGPs and everything, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
but not you, Anne, not you. You're good. You're one of the girls. Because I worked for it. And I
That's right.
earned their trust and respect.
I
I didn't, because
am.
when they say, "Oh, respect is mandatory," it's like, oh, it's
No,
earned.
it is
It's
not.
earned, and
That
for
is
everyone, not just for trans people, you
that's
earn respect.
thank you.
You
They
get
act
what you
like
give. If you come up fighting and yelling, people will yell back at you.
oh God, thank you.
Just
It's so
show everyone
basic.
that you're a human with, you know,
It's
everything else, and
ridiculous.
it will all be fine.
It's like we're
But
dealing
that's
with
not what they
children.
want, because they're not
Oh,
like us.
they're like spoiled bratty children. If a
Mhm.
child's crying and wants stuff, you know what I'm doing? Go to your room, dude. Like, no, we're
Yeah,
not having a
exactly.
conversation until you calm down and we can have talk.
Mhm.
We're literally giving in to the kids. Like, oh, we don't want to about that. No, you're gonna yell at me? Go to your room, dude. I'm not having any conversation with you right now. So we're not treating these people like children that they are. We're acting scared of them. I'm not scared of any of those people in any way, shape, or form. It's why I'll stand up against that insanity with people like you beside me. So let's encourage Anne to get more stuff out there. And thank you, Anne, so much for taking the time to have a conversation with me today. And with that, everybody, thanks for liking this video and subscribing and seeing me on the live on Wednesday. And with that, have a beautiful, awesome day. And I'll see you guys on
Now you
the
too.
next one.